remember when I was in elementary school, I would raise my hand and give a suggestion to the teacher, and every time I'd give a suggestion, they would always call me a creative kid. Almost every single teacher called me creative. And I was always so confused because everyone else would give suggestions and they would be like, oh, whatever, you know, let's take their suggestions. It seems pretty plausible. Whenever I said something, nah, oh my god. And it's totally fine when you're younger. I mean, everybody likes to praise kids for being creative. But the moment that you get older, the moment that you face the real world and you're creative, you're cooked because you start getting called dumb. There's a reason you clicked on this video. You probably resonate with that to a certain degree. You think being creative is great until you go out into the world and realize that everybody puts IQ on a pedestal. And for years I felt stupid because maybe I don't have the highest IQ. If you're not somebody book smart,
you're dumb.
Okay? If you can't do school,
you're dumb.
If you think outside of the box,
you're dumb.
But what they seem to forget is that the biggest innovators, the people that are all the way up at the top, are the most creative people you'll probably ever meet. Interesting thing about them though, is that they were not just creative. They brought their ideas into reality. They manifested every single one of their big ideas into the practical reality. And that is a skill. You know what's not a skill? Creativity. Creativity comes from your soul. The next time you feel stupid for being creative, I'm going to laugh at you. I'm going to laugh at you because you don't even understand how big of a blessing you have. You know how many people would kill to be creative? You know how many people would kill to have a shit ton of ideas? Because most people, they can't come up with any ideas. Most of the time, people are hitting a block in their creativity. You don't even realize how much of an unstoppable force you will be when you put that creativity center stage. When you put that creativity center stage and you start working on the skill of bringing that creativity into reality. Because your creativity and your ideas don't have to just be ideas. They don't just have to live in your head. They can live in your reality the moment that you start working on that skill. I'm making videos. You think I always knew and had the skill to bring my ideas to center stage? No. That's why some of my first videos are kind of ass, bro.
There's a reason why they're kind of ass.
There's a reason why they're filmed on a fucking iPhone 11. Like, they're not perfect. And that's the point. To learn a skill like this, you need to fuck up multiple times. And you have to get up every time. To be creative is also to be resilient. You have to keep getting up. You literally have the biggest blessing because nobody can replicate what you create. You create something and it comes from your soul. Nobody can recreate that. Anything that Apple does, they can't recreate that. That comes from Apple. There's no better creativity. That's the thing, because everyone has their unique perspective. Everything that you create is uniquely you. No one else can create what you create. I'll go as far to say creative intelligence is way more significant than having high IQ. Because you can be somebody who has a high IQ and still fail to come up with new solutions to certain problems. Sure, you can critically think, but can you think of new creative solutions? Not often. Creative people, they have a shit ton of ideas, whether or not they're plausible or not. Because in their sea of ideas, there are so many fish to catch, let me tell you. You know why you're so smart for being creative? Because you can come up with new shit. Nowadays, no one's original. With AI, nobody's original. Even some of the people we see, like innovators, they might not even have the highest IQ. But they come up with new solutions. They come up with new skills, new ways to get around their own problems. And what does everyone chalk it up to? Oh, they have a high IQ. No, babe, they don't have a high IQ. They're creative as fuck. Just because you can't do math problems does not mean you're stupid. Being creative, being somebody who had a bunch of ideas, who dreamed big, was never a curse. It was always a blessing in disguise. And you didn't even realize it because you were in a community where you were told to shrink yourself, where you were told to not light up like you do about your ideas. Society really wants you to just stay in the box. Because the moment you think outside of it, they look at you like you're crazy. Creatives see differently, okay? And everyone sees differently, but creatives especially. They see things most people don't see. They read between the lines. Most people, they don't do that. If they have done that in the past, they've been told to dim themselves. Creativity is one of the things that have set innovators apart from any other person in the world. There's a reason why innovators are so looked up to, because nobody can replicate them. Just like how no one can replicate you, your soul, your aura, and your creations. So yeah, they're gonna call you dumb. And they probably did. A lot of people probably called you dumb. Because they can't even understand the fact that you don't think inside the box. You know how uncomfortable that is for some people? To think, oh, you don't think inside the box? Why do you think like that? Oh, that's unrealistic, da-da-da-da. You know the people that dream big are the people that always make it? Anybody that dreams small always stays in their little comfort zone. It's funny to me, all the people want to hate on the big dreamers until they make it. When the big dreamers, when they make it, everyone's like, oh, I always supported you. Most creatives are always big dreamers, bro. They always have big dreams, or they always want to get to the top in some way. Because you're literally meant to get to the top. You're meant to create new realities. That's the point. You're not supposed to do the things that have already been done before. You're not meant to repeat things. A while ago, I was in the car with my friend and I was just talking to her and I was like, dude, I'm just kind of worried about this. Like, what if nothing really works out for me? Like, I have all these ideas, I have this big dream and I just don't know what I'm gonna do, you know? What if it doesn't work out? She looks at me and she's like, Dia, are you serious right now? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, Dia, dream bigger. And I looked at her, I was like, what? What do you mean dream bigger? She's like, dream bigger. Like, you're dreaming too small, dream bigger. She literally told me, make it more unrealistic. Because she told me the bigger you dream, the more likely you are to get to the original dream that you had in the beginning. Let's say you want to be a judge or a lawyer. What if you shoot for being the president? I know, it's a big leap, but think about it. If you shoot for being the president, you are more likely to get an even higher position than a judge. Think about it, think about it. She didn't even tell me this example, but I looked at her and I immediately understood what she was saying. I was like, that's facts. Like, you just spit bars, bro. And every time I doubt my dream, I think I need to dream bigger. When you start doubting your dreams, y'all, know you need to shoot even higher. Because your soul knows you deserve more than that. The people that hate on the big dreamers are the same people that have been dimmed before and chose to keep their light out. They're the people that choose safe and stable over the possibility of something better. Some people like that are actually very humble, and then there's other people that have a fucking huge ass ego for no fucking reason, and they're always going to judge you for dreaming big. But if they do that, just tell them I'm a dream bigger, bitch. If somebody has an issue with you dreaming big, they're just scared, they haven't done it themselves. And they're gonna call it unrealistic. But when you start doing the thing that they think is so unrealistic, they're gonna be like, your potential is sky high the moment you realize your power, and I promise you, once you do, you will be unstoppable. And I'm telling you, you're not stupid, you are just creative. And it's exactly why people called you dumb. Because nobody can ever comprehend people that go outside of the norm. And unfortunately, creatives are always misunderstood. They never really fit in. But that's because you're supposed to pave the way. You're not meant to. You're meant to be a leader. That's it. Well, would you look at that? The camera's overheating. I should probably stop yapping now. Oh, it's actually really hot. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't already, follow my Instagram. Thank you so much. I love you guys.